Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to the RENNSPORT X Ray from the Pixelhelden collaboration event, special event, whatever you want to call it. Today a special event together with the content creator called Ray, who is a German content creator, quite big in the scene, doing all kinds of racing games. So whatever you're driving, besides RENNSPORT of course, he will probably have it covered. We also have the chance to talk to Ray later on in the stream, which will be interesting. But I'm not only talking to Ray here today, because alongside me in the commentator booth is Tim Ireland.
Hello, Lino. Hello, Twitchy people. How are you today? It's Sunday. We don't cast that often on a Sunday, but we're here today for a special race, like you said.
Yeah, usually it's just every second Sunday. This time we do it 3 weeks in a row, because next week, of course, on Sunday will be an RCE, which we will also talk about later on. Maybe without a voice crack, but that's for later on.
No guarantees.
No guarantees given. But yeah, we are right now in qualifying, and qualifying in this race is very different to what we have, because this event is basically what Ray envisioned. So I wasn't in a call with him, or multiple ones actually, and we planned this event together to make it as much of his dreams basically as possible. And he wished for 20 minutes qualifying from the pits with collision. If you drove the rAiiPXH series in RENNSPORT, which is an hourly series Ray is running, then you might have already seen that, because there you have 10 minutes with collision and all kind of stuff. But it makes for a very different dynamic in qualifying, doesn't it?
Yeah, normally in the qualifying, it's just solo qualifying, so there's just you on the track. So it's just go out, drive, get as fast a lap as you can, whereas with a situation like this, where you've got all of the cars on track at once, all trying to get a fast lap in, there's as Liam Neeson might say, a specific set of skills involved. You need to be able to find your own space on track and then do a lap. So it can put quite a lot of pressure on you to get it done when you've got the opportunity.
Yeah, it's a lot about management and knowing when to go out and fast lap. You can see the spread on the track, but for example, the cars from the number 23 to 13, they are close together. Meanwhile, the car 10, which is actually Ray, and 18 have completely open track in front of them, which is what you want in a qualifying session such as this.
Yeah, it's finding those gaps, knowing when to push or when to back off and just try and open up a gap for yourself. It's a very different thing and something that takes a lot of practice to make the most out of, I suppose.
Hockenheim is definitely one of the favorite tracks for this man in the Summit Porsche. He's coincidentally driving the same Porsche as Maximilian Dehn does, while being one of the strongest contenders in this race, I would suggest. And yeah, I'm sure we will see plenty of racing action. He has raced a couple of people in this race, especially Kimi Hapler, who's currently on pole, but the first few lap times don't really say that much. So he had a run-in with him. Tim Schroeder, great battle with him, although he is not here today. So he is used to some people here.
Yeah, we've got a good mix of our kind of regular event crowd and some new people who they might be from Ray's community, I don't know. Along with Ray himself, obviously. So yeah, there's definitely some wild card drivers thrown in for any of the more regular viewers of our Twitch streams. And it'll be interesting to see what they can do. Got some lap times starting to come in, so you start to get a bit of an idea, but it won't be until everyone's got the tyres warmed up and found their space that we'll start seeing people's kind of more optimal laps coming in.
Yeah, lots of Porsche here today as well. Not too unusual, seeing how the Porsche is the most popular car. But yeah, it's also, of course, the free car of the week alongside the Porsche 963 and the 911 Cup. So yeah, lots of people trying it out, including the likes of Piotr Zadybel, who we usually see in a platinum liveried BMW.
Yeah, it can be a fun change of pace to drive a Porsche, but it's one of those cars that the people who are Porsche specialists will definitely get the most out of it.
Alizal back in the usual AMG. Maybe we see a change of color soonish for this car, but for now it's still the Dazzle livery, which I think looks great. But we talk about that all the time, so yeah, it's a good mix of cars up front already. Julian Chicot back in the Audi just as yesterday, and if you have missed yesterday's race, it has been a blast. We went to Road Atlanta for the RCL season finale, and P2 to P4 in the standings in the end, separated by 3 points. It was astonishing, I'd say.
It was a really brilliant finish to the season, and a well-deserved win by Rowan, who's in chat. You did well, Rowan.
We are proud of you.
Who's a good boy?
But yeah, a lot of contenders, just like Dominic Lalo, who had a stunning charge yesterday as well. Back in here, Enrico Bräuninger, who in the end was able to secure second in the championship, back in the BMW. So switching back from the Aston Martin, which he's been driving the last couple of days. And currently leading a man who wasn't here yesterday, because I don't know why, but he wasn't there yesterday. But Kimi Hapler. So he is currently sitting on pole, but we know from previous races that Ray can match his pace. Just a question of when. Still 12 minutes left to go in this session.
Yeah, still a bunch of people trying to get valid laps in right now, trying to find their space, and couple that with staying on the track, which not always as easy as it sounds.
No, it really isn't. One of the new drivers, Obeid Salem, in the Beta Winner livery car, so he has been around for quite some time. If you don't know, the Beta livery was only obtainable during our Beta progress, and if you won a race during that time, you got this livery, which we've seen on a couple of cars recently, but you don't really see it often in general competition, so it's always nice to see them. Shared livery with Cesco Monero, actually. Ray 1.5 down in the first sector, but this could still be enough for the front row, but goes a bit wide. This might be a deletion of the lap time. Indeed it is. Still some time left in the session. Quite some time, actually. We're just getting towards the halfway point. But what we can already see with the traffic, you really have to pick your spot. Ray now waiting to get more clean air in front of him. He only has the 13 of Obeid Salem behind him, which I think he might actually let pass. Now he's going before that. But it's a very different dynamic to what we see usually, where it's 10 minutes of full-on pushing. You will have to be happy with slightly slower lap times at times, so very different.
Yeah, it means that when you do get the right conditions, you need to get a good kind of last corner of the lap in and have enough space in front of you that you can make a really good push lap. And for most people, that opportunity isn't going to come a lot, so they really have to get the job done when they have it.
Yeah, you have 20 minutes, but realistically it shrinks down to half the time. So you have to pick your spot. You have to also be aware of the cars around you, because if you block people on their fast laps, they might not let you through on your lap. So it's also a lot about cooperation in a way. But it's a dynamic I really like to see for a change. It's basically the polar opposite of the one-lap shootout we see in R1. But again, a good run here for Ray. He's now entering the final sector. Could be enough for P3. Porsche is very strong, but also with very strong drivers, it has to be said. Kimi Hapler and Dominik Ladler definitely know how to drive this car. What will it be? And it's enough for second. Just a bit in front of Dominik Ladler, but Kimi Hapler with another banger lap time the last time around. 37.1, that is pretty quick. It's also interesting that all three of the top non-Porsches are P4 to 6 this time.
Yeah, they seem to be in a little gaggle. We've got Jason Gazar a bit further down in 13th place now. But the non-Porsche drivers doing a pretty good job. Maybe they should team up.
We've seen it yesterday. They didn't quite team up, but they were around, let's say. We see Jona Miki has been a bit more active in recent days. And he drives a car which we should talk about, because as you can see, it's the Iron Names livery. We've been talking about the last few broadcasts, because it's something that you can actually obtain at the moment, whether you are playing the game or not, by watching 3 hours of RENNSPORT R1, which is every Friday. So this Friday will continue. Oh, and big crash there. Very bad rejoin by one of the cars. But when you watch 3 hours of R1, you will get the Iron Dames livery for free. So you just have to connect your RENNSPORT account to Twitch, and you can then have it in your garage, basically. See, Radoslav Pironkovic is also back here today, currently in P14. He did a pretty good race yesterday, so I think he is going into this one with a lot of optimism. And we still have about 7 minutes left, and we see a lot of cars in the pit. I would actually think they will go out, and we see a couple of cars actually leaving the pit lane right now, because there's a bit of an open spot in front of Enrico Bräuniger. Are they going for the last ones now? Or do you think the likes of Kimi Hapler are satisfied with their lap times? Just preparing for the race mentally?
I'm not sure anyone's ever satisfied with their lap time, especially not these front guys. So if there's a chance for him to go out and do a last lap dash for a better time, I think he's going to try and take it.
Yeah, there are definitely a couple of people in a good position. Dominik Ladler, who currently is in third, has pretty much nothing in front of him, except for Alizar, who's not really slower than him, so he won't run into him usually. And in front of Ali, it's Enrico Bräuniger with another couple of seconds of a gap. And then it's Julian Chicot, so the 4 cars we see on the open road in end of Sector 1, or mid of Sector 2 rather said, they won't run into issues. The closest they have is the 15 car of Sasha Andrich in the 15 entering Sector 3 now. But Kimi Hapler's lap time is very, very strong.
It is, yeah. I mean, a 37.1 is definitely nothing to be sniffed at around Hockenheim. You can see Ray and Dominik Ladler both half a second shy right now, so he's not got anything too much to worry about as it stands. But I'm sure if he can push it for a couple of extra tenths, he'll be willing to try.
OG Stan today in the Porsche. He's currently in P7 with car number 7. Maybe that's a lucky sign for him. He caused the championship to shift a little yesterday. Not in a bad way for any driver, but it was an interesting situation to be in. And those are the situations you don't want. Ray now being stuck behind the 18 of Ingo Becker. Made his way through well, but it will have lost some time. And if you're fighting for 10th on Hockenheim, then, well, this amounts very quickly. But we are getting towards the end of the session. And another thing that's special to this qualifying session, I know it's staggering how many things are different here today, but you can actually finish the last lap you started. So once the timer hits 0 and you cross the line, it's over. But it's not over just because the time is 0. And I think we will have some people timing it just right that they will be the last cars on track with no traffic in front of them. And actually people may be scrambling for that with that timing advantage, basically. And with 3 minutes on the clock, 1:37 lap time, you get 3 laps in. But if you wait a bit for your perfect spot, you will still get 2 laps in, no matter what, but you may be in a better position. And we also see a couple of cars in the pits, so maybe they will just go out near the end of the session and do one more flying lap. All possibilities you can do. Everyone but 2 drivers having set a lap time. Dennis Kurzer is somebody I'm a bit curious about why he didn't set a lap time yet. Also can't see him on track, he's in the pits currently. And of course, the tires don't reset on each lap here today. So you're playing with the hand you're dealt with, basically, after your outlap. You can reset to the pits, but it of course loses you 1, potentially 2 laps. It's definitely...
Somebody near my house getting ready for the race by the sounds of it.
Does sound like it. I don't think we accept motorcycles in the GT3 race, but who knows? But yeah, what do you think? Will somebody challenge Kimi Harper's lap time?
I don't know. He's still got half a second on anyone else in the field, I think, unless someone gets some very clean air and a bit of a speed boost. I think we might be looking at the pole position at least. Dominic Ladler, Alizar here. They're both fairly close together with Ray, so there might be a bit of changing of pace going on there. But I think Kimi might have got it.
Dominic Ladler definitely has a slight advantage here because he's in a bit of a slipstream range to Ali. He's not super close, but he is close enough to have a bit of an effect. And if he can close in the gap like he did yesterday, maybe this is motivating him as well, seeing the same car. He might be able to at least get onto the front row of the grid, which at the moment is still held by Ray. And Ray has just set a purple sector 3 as well. No improvement to the lap overall, but he has pace. Still has pace in that car.
And he seems very consistent with his lap times as well. He's always hovering around the 37.6 kind of area. So he seems to be very consistent in his lap times, which will serve him well in a 90-minute race.
Dominic Ladler matching Sector 2 with Kimi Harper, only 1/10 down in Sector 1. He matched it exactly 0.000. I don't see that too often. Those 2 final corners, they can be very tricky with the curb. Rides them well. Was that too wide? I think it was a bit too wide.
It was too wide for the AMG, I'm afraid.
Ray has also parked his car. It doesn't seem like there's somebody on an improving lap time. So, while we have the time, let's see if Ray has some time.
No. All good.
So, we have Ray with us here in the commentary booth. Qualifying, how do you think your lap time was? Are you happy with it?
Yeah, mid 1:37 was my target, but that's the only lap I came together. I'm not really happy with it because there was a lot of not really good laps in my opinion. But I think the time from Kimi, was not in my reach. So if it keep P2, then it's fine. the results are fine. The way to the result, not.
Well, I mean, Kimi's lap time is definitely a very strong one, and I think a very high benchmark as well. I mean, you see all the other guys, Dominic Ladler, Alisa here, you've raced a couple of them before. You kind of know where they are. Yeah, it has been a very strong lap time. For the race, what is your strategy? What are you going to do?
I don't know how the tires are work by 90 minutes. So my idea is, the first lap's pushing and then a little bit, manage the tires a little bit to going to the end in the best case.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like a plan. I can tell you that we had 2-hour races on these tires on the Nordschleife, but they got a bit tricky in the end, so...
Yeah, that I thought. So, yeah, we will see.
Well, we will probably talk to each other later on in the session, but for now, good luck in this race.
Yeah, thank you. Lot of fun for you and the audience.
I'm sure we will have that. I mean, it can't be more entertaining with those top 7 drivers. Happy hunting, and talk to you later.
Thank you.
Good luck, Ray.
Thank you.
All right, and we are back. The field should start rolling very soon because it's a rolling start. And there we see them. Kimi Hapler leading them into turn 1. Will be Ray alongside. So, yeah, I think predictions are, again, maybe something we can't quite do here today, but Kimi Hapler is looking strong, isn't he?
He is looking very strong. It was a fairly commanding lap from Kimi, so I imagine he's feeling fairly positive about what was going on there.
Lights go green any moment. And we go racing. Oh, it's not the best start for Ray. Of course, he's new to this. So the regular's definitely in an advantage here as we go into turn 1. It seems like everybody got through cleanly. We have Kimi Hapler leading in front of Dominic Ladler, who's immediately setting the flasher on fire. Alizaya trying to move past Enrico Bruiniger into turn 2. And Enrico Bruiniger running a bit wide. That might cost him on the run through Parabolica. And Julien Chicot is also having a look here in the slipstream. As we go down to the hairpin at the end of it, Alizaya seems like he's going to sneak by. Julien Chicot also sending it. As Enrico is forced a bit wide, and Ray may be able to slip with through as well. Is this 3 positions lost into 1 turn? Not quite. Ray slotting in behind. Third from the man, he's going for attack, but so is Enrico Bruiniger on Julien Chicot going into Mercedes as he reclaims P4. Lots of overtaking action here at the start of the race.
Yeah, a bit of a bad start there by Ray, but he seems to be picking up some positions, and he's still well in contention here. And as we've said many times before, it's a long race. He's got a long time to go.
Side by side with Julien Chicot through Sucks Curve. Can do that, the banking does allow you to do it. Julien Chicot, we know he's aggressive, he is keeping his nose in. but has to forfeit the position for now. Next up will be Enrico Bräuniger. But up front, Kimi Hapler, 6/10 over Dominik Ladler after the first lap.
That's a fairly impressive lead for the first lap there. Obviously, not getting caught in the kind of battling that was going on behind him has really let him stretch his legs. And I'm pretty sure that's not what either Dominic or Ali would have wanted to happen at the start of the race.
Yeah, especially Ali lost a bit more time behind Enrico there. But, I mean, Ali came from further back as well. The top 8 are building a bit of a gap. Khan P9, Odem Salem. Bit slower than Jonah Mikos at the end of this train. But a 90-minute race, that is quite long. And I think we lost one of the cars. Oh, Julian Chico has a bit of a gap to the cars behind. Not quite sure what shifted here, but the gaps have grown quite a lot here right now. Out of the hairpin.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened there, but I'm assuming there wasn't much in the way of yellow flags on the map, so I'm assuming it was just a bit of battling and maybe somebody going a bit late.
A bit of Constantina as well. I mean, you go down to first gear, 40, 50 kph as most, usually. It does Constantina quite a lot into that turn. Which makes it great for switchbacks, actually. Piotr Zadajbel made his way into 11th. Radoslav Pionkovic in behind is defending from Cesco Munuera, who are 12th and 13th. Cesco has dropped a bit at the start of this race. But Dominik Ladler is hanging in there. The gap hasn't really grown to Kimi Hapler in the last lap.
No, he had a purple first sector last lap, so he's obviously decided to put the hammer down. They've dropped Ali Zahir off a little bit, but I'm sure he'll hang in there. We've seen Ali fight till the bitter end many times.
We have seen that indeed. And there we see a bit of Constantina again with all the different Porsches. And then drag racing out of the hairpin towards Mercedes. But Ray currently having a bit of issues working his way past Enrico Bräuniger, and so does Cesco Munuera trying to pass Radoslav Pionkovic for P12. Oh, but Radoslav running wide, and I think that opens the door for the Spaniard. Not quite. We know they are both not too aggressive, so very respectful drivers. But the gap is slowly growing, and once you get into that 1 second barrier, yeah, you are out of slipstream. I'm sorry, out of slipstream range. Was a language incomprehensible to smart people.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep in the slipstream. Dominic Ladler, you can see, he's just holding on to the edge of the slipstream. Oh my word, I did it now. Just holding on to the edge of the slipstream zone. But he won't be getting a lot of tow from there.
Ray this time deciding to go around the outside of Enrico. Again, a bit of contact under braking. The Porsche very strong out of the hairpin. Enrico does it well and locks him out of it, basically. Oh, and there's contact very well held there by Enrico Bräuniger, because getting contact on the BMW on that corner is lethal. And Ray this time around the outside. And this time Enrico Bräuniger just slightly losing the rear, and through goes Ray into P4.
He's got a bit of a gap to make up to Ali Zahir right now. But he definitely showed he had the pace during qualifying.
Still lots of fighting further behind. P10, 11 and 12 quite close together. Cesco Munuera has lost quite a bit of time to Radoslav Pionkovic, so he's not quite in that group. We've seen it yesterday, though. He is able to make that up quite quickly. Oh, big drift there by Falk Möser. Driving that Porsche to full effect is what you could describe it.
Just to give you some lap times, Kimi Harpler is now running high 37s with Dominic Ladler and Ali Zahir running in low 38s along with Ray. So probably looking for that gap to open up a little bit in the next few laps. And then it'll become more of a battle of who can look after their tyres the best for the whole race. And of course deal with back markers, which we're a few laps away from that happening for sure. But it will happen eventually.
It's a very good thing you mentioned that, actually, because what we see right now on the map is that we have two groups and, well, two people pretty much on their own with Ingo Becker and Woody Schiller in P17 and 18. But the skill spread here today, it's not big. It's quite a lot smaller than what we usually see and what we've seen, for example, yesterday in the RCL. So I think until we see back markers, it will take a lot of time. And we have pretty much the group from P1 to P9, Jonah Mielke being the last car in that. And then a big of a gap to car number 8, Piotr Zadeibel. But they are all quite close to each other still. 8 minutes in.
Yeah, the field is pretty close together. I mean, there's not a lot of kind of active battling going on right now. So people are getting their heads down, getting their pace in, and trying to either close those gaps or grow those gaps, rather than actively fighting each other on track. But yeah, the spread of cars is fairly tight, especially that front 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 cars is a pretty good group of cars. And then we have a secondary group further back, like you said.
It's of course double the distance from yesterday's race, RCL typically being 45 minutes. Dominic Ladler really came to pace, as Ochistan is running a bit wide here, but he also has a pretty good run so far. Just, I think, the first minor mistake we've seen here today from him. But Dominic Ladler yesterday, he really came to life in the last 5 to 6 minutes. He catched up to Ali Zahir throughout the race, of course, but he was consecutively a lot quicker in the final few laps. Do you think
Yeah,
that
he seems to have...
maybe with the tires degrading and him driving the Porsche, Ali Zahir in the AMG, very different driving styles as well, that his advantage lays in the long run?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, traditionally in sim races, Porsches tend to have a pretty hard time as far as tyres are concerned. But Dominic does seem to maybe drive pretty smooth, so he looks after his tyres pretty well. Ali was pushing quite a lot in Road Atlanta, so that maybe took its toll on his front tyres a little bit and affected his turn-in. But yeah, I think the tyres battle is going to be probably our big topic of the day. And also Kimi, like whether Kimi can maintain this pace right now.
He has shown he's able to do that in 45 and 60-minute races a lot. 90 minutes is half an hour more though, so it's considerably more.
Yeah, for sure. Last lap round, Dominic Ladler was a tenth of a second quicker than Kimi Harpler. He now has the fastest lap of the race. No, he doesn't. He's a tenth shy.
I mean, Kimi Harpler's pace was just staggering. Of course, Hockenheim is a very different track to order, but it's more of a general thing with the drives. We see that a lot with Dominic Ladler. It's one of the reasons he was so successful in the last RNL season, in the longer races especially. And one thing that's a wild card is Ray, isn't he?
Yeah, I was just going to mention them. People's fastest laps so far. Kimi Harpler has done a 37.6. Dominic Ladler and Ali Zahir have both done 37.7s, but Ray has also done a 37.6. So he's definitely not lacking pace right now. Those four really are in a bit of another league compared to everyone else behind them. Enrico Bräuninger has done a 38.3, and then there's quite a few 38 fastest laps after him.
Which are still pretty quick lap times around here, so you shouldn't discard them because Kimi Hapler was faster. But yeah, those guys are also fighting for a lot here. Just Munir found his pace again. He's now back on the back of Władysław Pionkiewicz for P11, with Falk Möser and Piotr Zadabel just in front of them as well. But getting close is one thing, getting past is another. We learned that yesterday. Hockenheim a bit more overtake friendly than Road Atlanta though.
It is, yeah, but I think most of the overtaking places in in Hockenheim are fairly obvious, and they're not that hard to cover. So you do really have to pressure someone to be able to get an overtake in.
I mean, well, in Hockenheim, of course, you also have the advantage of having consecutive overtaking opportunities. If it doesn't work into the hairpin, you just try it into Mercedes. If it doesn't work into Mercedes, maybe you have a chance now here into the Motordrome, the right-hander. We've seen a couple of moves in the recent days. We've seen moves going into Sachs-Curve today already. In Road Atlanta, meanwhile, if it doesn't work into turn 10A, you have a hard time doing a move into turn 1. It's just the way Road Atlanta is. Scoop currently, though, very entertaining. And it also seems like the fight for P6 is very close, with 3 cars within a second of each other. Julian Chico leading in front of Oji Stan and Obeid Salem.
Yeah, they seem to have been kind of sticking together for a while now. So, Oji Stan going for an up and under.
Oh no, side by side.
Not quite getting there.
But well, there you could see what I mean. You got close into Mercedes, you decided not to do a move, but you could have launched it on the inside if you were bold enough and if you trusted the another driver enough. It's not something that I would suggest doing, but it's something that you theoretically could do.
No, maybe with 75 minutes of the race left to go, it's maybe not the option you'd immediately go for, or hopefully not.
Yeah, I mean, tire degradation is a thing here. Fuel you don't have to worry about, but damaging your car, that is a big point. Keeping it intact, keeping it in one shape, that will really decide the race in the end.
Some of these guys might stop for tyres, I'm not sure, but they definitely won't want to stop to get any damage repaired. That's not going to do well for your final result, that's for sure.
Oji Stan missing the braking point into turn 2. Got a good enough run, though, to be able to cover Obeid Salem into the hairpin, but lost him quite some time to Julian Chico. Meanwhile, up front, Ali Zahir has closed the gap to Dominic Ladler, who lost out quite a bit to Kimi Hapler.
Yeah, his last lap was a fair bit slower, so he must have had a rare misstep from Dominic Ladler there.
And Ray is just a further second behind, so these three basically sandwiching now, are getting closer towards each other. And also building a fairly good gap to Enrico Bräuninger, was 5 seconds down, himself having another 4 seconds to Julian Chico. Might be another lonely race for him.
Yeah, there's always somebody in a race who has a bit of a lonely one. And it looks like Enrico Bräuninger might be the one today. I wonder if Ali's going to start working together with Dominic a bit now and try and close the gap on Kimi, rather than making moves and risking making it a 3-way battle.
Meanwhile, Cesco Moreira has lost I think 2 or 3 places in a couple of corners. And Radoslav Pironkovic as well, because he dropped down to 14th, Jason Kizar up to 12th, and this all happened from the hairpin to now the Motodrome. So lots of shifts there.
The gap between the two, there aren't driver classes, but you could kind of call them driver classes, I suppose, in that there's 2 distinct groups of drivers now, but the gap between them has opened up quite a lot.
Just because I had to lift there after passing Falk Möser for P11. Now in the slipstream down the Parabolica. Oh, and Falk Möser actually going for a bit of a move there on the inside.
Getting a bit squirrely on the exit.
Covers him off, and now Cesco Moreira down the inside, over the curb. Contact with Jason Kizar from... so I keep saying Frank Falk, just able to avoid the Spaniard, but what an unlucky situation there. Nothing Jason has done wrong.
Yeah. No, it was just a bit of sideways contact. Probably as Chestu was trying to get on the gas.
And Cesco was going in a bit hot.
He was going in a bit hot.
Oh, and Audi Stan and sorry, Julian Chicot. Beautiful switchback there by the Audi. It was really inch perfect, that one. But now into the hairpin. A big speed difference, but the Audi very strong on the brakes. And a little bump there actually from Audi Stan. Don't see that often.
He went for a switchback, but got blocked off, and there was just a little bit of contact.
These two were being close for a long time yesterday, where Audi Stan, of course, drove the Audi instead of the Porsche. They didn't really have the chance to fight each other, because they always had another Audi in the between of them, basically. Whether it was Tony or Mark.
Yeah, that's true. But they're drivers that know each other pretty well. We've got the slight wildcard situation with Salem being just behind them. But they seem pretty happy to swap places right now.
Oh, side by side into turn 1. Do you really want to do that? I'm not sure. Backs out of it, but
they decided better not.
I like what I'm seeing. Audi Stan is really showing himself. He's making his presence very known in the rearview mirror of Julian Chicot. And if you know one thing about Julian Chicot is that he is... I'm not sure how to put it really, but he also got, well, huge guts. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a very brave driver, and intimidating him, I think, is not an easy task. But Audi Stan is surely giving his best shot. Oh, and Kimi Hapla's off.
Yeah, he had a bit of a connection with one of the back markers there, which is obviously not an ideal situation.
Not sure, I think that might be the 17. It's now letting Ray and Alizaya through. But yeah, you've talked about it. Back markers, a big factor. We are 20 minutes into the race. And again, contact between the two. I'm not sure about that one.
Nah.
But it opens up the heavens for Dominic Ladler, Alizaya, and Ray. Kimi Habler also going into the pits. See if he comes back out of it. Let's hope he does. in the fight for P9, Piotr Zadal was able to build a bit of a gap to the cars behind. Jona Mielke in 10th now. So this kind of has fallen apart a bit, this bracket of drivers. But I feel like the race is starting to really unfold itself in the next couple of minutes for the lead positions. Enrico Breuninger up to 4th, with Kimi Hapler missing now from the front pack.
Yeah, he's just coming down the pit lane now. You can see him moving on the map.
Car with the number 4. See where he can make it in this race. Has a lot of catching up to do.
He does now, yeah. That was very unfortunate to be caught in 2 incidents there with the same car. So he's got a lot of work left to do.
He's crossing the bollard there. That will be track limits, but seems to work for him for now at least. One thing we haven't really talked about, and what you only start seeing now, is the fact that it's getting a bit darker, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You can see the shadows are getting longer. I'm not sure how much experience some of the drivers around here will have of driving Hockenheim in the dark, but we're going to find out pretty quick.
Yeah, we will drive into the night. It's something that we have done on quite a lot of tracks, but on Hockenheim we haven't done it so much. So, of course, a full day-night cycle is possible here on this track. And the race has started at 5 PM in-game time. And, oh, Piotr Zadal, not so Piotr Zadal, sorry, Audi Stan with a big drift there. But, yeah, we will drive to about 11 PM in-game time, which is pretty dark, and Hockenheim doesn't have a lot of lighting, so keeping your lights intact will also be quite important here if you want to have a chance later on in the race.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's going to be a few people out there who haven't noticed if they've damaged their lights or not, and they're soon going to find out.
But so far there hasn't been that much contact. Actually, it's interesting to see 90 minutes longer race, and I think a lot of people have realized that as well, which is good to see. Oh, and Alizai ran right into turn 1, and that's P2 for Ray. Can he break free of the AMG now, though? Ray
It's taking him a long time to get past Alizar here, so their pace has been pretty close and consistent between them. So just a little mistake from Alizar there, and Ray got past. But now we get to see what Ray's like on the defense.
To be honest, it doesn't seem like Ray is too bothered about defending. I think he has his eyes locked on this man, on Dominic Ladler for P1. Because he already has half a second on Alizar.
He's probably thinking, is that the most gorgeous Porsche livery in RENNSPORT?
Oh, and Obeid Salem just got past OG Stan for 6th, exiting the hairpin. And Julian Chicot, that was able to build a gap of 1.7 seconds. I think that's something he does like to hear. And OG Stan is still quick, so maybe he will get back into contention for the position. Jason Kezar, meanwhile, up into P10, of course, due to the Kimi Hapler incident. Slowly getting back onto the last train, basically. Sasha Andrich being the next car in line for him. Jason Kezar, definitely one of the bigger movers in this game so far.
Yeah, Jay's had a nice consistent pace, really. He's been sticking very well into the 40.0s, which is no time to be sniffed at, for sure. Jay gelled really well when we had the GT3 tyre update. He seems to get on with them very, very well.
He does, and he's closing in on Yona Milka as well. Meanwhile, Obeid Salem, he is closing in on Julian Chico. He already gained about 4/10 since we passed the Mercedes Arena last lap. It's now down to 1.3 seconds, of course fluctuating a bit here and there, but Odistan not quite able to go the pace, which I'm surprised about. I think Obeid Salem was just waiting to get past, basically. So he's not really showing his cards in battle so far. He's just waiting for his chance to pass and then use his raw pace to drive away once he is passed. It seems like we have a slight technical issue here. Should be able to come back with footage very soon. But yeah, so far we are pretty much 1/3 of the ways through. What are your thoughts of the opening phase?
It's been pretty clean, except for really the incident with Kimi earlier on that happened a couple of laps ago. Sorry, it's been a clean race. People have seemed to be able to get their own pace going and sit and just kind of get their head down and get some laps in. So, except for the action for sixth place, which seems to be hotting up a bit more now, it's been pretty exciting stuff, I think. There's going to be some questions asked later on about who's been looking after the tyres the most, who's managed to keep them in good condition. I think that's going to start affecting people's pace more towards the kind of 50, 60 minute mark. But they're definitely kind of just trying to stamp it your own time on the race and get any gaps you can right now. I hope people aren't pushing too hard and regret it later.
Yeah, I mean, that will really set off the tire differences later on. We've talked about it with Dominic Lada and Alizaya and Kimi Hapler as well, but Kimi Hapler for now, bit out of the picture. But yeah, how pace will look like in about 30 minutes, that will be the big question now for most of the drivers. And of course, lapping maneuvers will also become more frequent.
Yeah, for sure. How drivers deal with the lap traffic, and as the lap traffic gets faster, because it is a 90-minute race, the front runners are more likely to start overtaking people who are definitely not slow, and that's going to mean getting past them is going to be even more kind of critical to get it done quickly and respectfully to both sets of drivers.
Still slight technical issues. We're working on a solution. So, yeah, of course, while we have technical issues, you can always check out the stream from Ray, because he's broadcasting his POV. So there you won't miss any action. Currently, well, more closing in on the other drivers than actual fighting on track, so you don't miss too much at the moment.
Enrico Breuninger is also casting. his point of view from the race, from our community.
That is very true. So also worth checking out. So while we are trying to work on a solution, I think it would be easiest if you head over to Ray's stream to see what's going on. We will let you know once we are back to, well, being able to broadcast. And until then, short break. Alright, we tried to get back into it, but unfortunately we have no option to do so at the moment, which means our broadcast will have to end here now. Yeah, very unfortunate. It has been a great race, and it still is a great race. You can follow it. We said it previously on Ray's broadcast and on Enrico's. We will send you to Ray once we concluded this. So even if you don't speak German, it's absolutely worth to watch it. And
And you can always follow along on the app as well to see where other people are, and what their lap times are, and check their positions on track. Even if you can't really tell from Ray's stream, you might be able to. I don't know.
Yeah, of course, you have those options as well. For next week, of course, on Friday there will be R1. On Saturday, we will go back into the Green Hell, the RENNSPORT Nordschleife League with the GT4 cars, which always have been very entertaining in terms of drifting BMWs, which we will probably see again. And on Sunday, it will be a RENNSPORT community event in Spa with hypercars and GT3s. I think that's a bit of a no-brainer. And will be pretty entertaining as usual. I mean, those two cars on track, or two car classes on track, are always cool to see. So I'd say,
for sure.
with that, thank you for watching, though. It has been a pleasure. And we see you next time.
Goodbye.